Matt Ryan, 21 of 24, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. Still a dude.
It's better than this. Guys being dudes.
Matt Ryan, that's a dude.
Heisman Trophy.
Bronco Nagurski Award. Ultimate dude.
Raji on my left. Herzlich on my right. 2 dudes.
O-line you. Bunch of dudes.
Dudes to the right. Dudes to the left. Stuck in the middle with you.
WZBC, the Boston College Radio Network, the voice of the Eagles.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Two Dudes Sports. We're here on WZBC 90.3 Newton AM station. I'm Quinn Kelly, here with my broadcast partner TJ Hartnett, ready to dive into another week of sports, BC and otherwise. We'll do a little BC football for you, talk a little NFL, some of the college games, see if we go further than that. How are you this week, TJ?
I'm doing fine. We're riding high after a Boston College win. I didn't go back and check in the show, but I'm fairly certain you got the score prediction right. If not, you were very, very close, and I'll have to admit, and I apologize, Boston College, but I did not pick you to win, and I feel terrible. I really do. I went the entire last year picking them every single game, truly believing in Boston College and everything we stood for, and I was wrong half the time. But I always had faith, and this year, I went the opposite route, and guess what? You guys proved me wrong, so maybe I should just pick us to lose every week going forward. Honestly, could it hurt? Not really. I mean, it could just hurt my prediction status, which I think maybe 3 people care about, including my mom. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to start off with BC football, pretty simple. Boston College taking on Northern Illinois, another defensive battle, held, in my opinion, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. A sneaky guy, kind of like a Connor Grayson last year. Yeah, a guy that's going to go possibly in the NFL draft. Could be, a low-round draft pick that goes to a good team, goes behind a quarterback, and could come out of nowhere. You never really know. And Boston College held him, I believe, under 100 yards passing. So I don't know specifically, but Boston College played such a fantastic game on the defensive side. Their defense is number 1 in the country in total defense, number 1 in the country in rush defense, number 2 in the country in pass defense, I think like number 10 in another category, and then overall, it's us. Yeah. So, I mean, Boston College defense coming up strong again. Another stellar performance from our front line. A lot of pressure on Drew Hare the entire game. Offense, we talked about it. Jeff Smith, Troy Flutie. Troy Flutie did get the start, but Jeff Smith and Flutie really split snaps 50-50. Boston College had 2 touchdowns. One was thrown by Flutie, beautiful ball to Charlie Callan in the end zone. The other one was set up by a beautiful drive of Jeff Smith handing off to John Hillman for about a 17-yard run into the end zone. So, I mean, honestly, no clear-cut quarterback going into Duke. I like this 2-quarterback system right now. Really can't complain about it. They came out. They did what Boston College does, is they didn't try to surprise you. They ran the ball up the middle, just like they always do, but they showed it in different ways, which is something that kept Northern Illinois on their toes a little bit when we had those opportunities. We saw Howell way too much again. Obviously, we have to figure out how to get better drives and keep teams lower on their side of the field. And then, we talked about it last week, special teams. Oh my goodness, you almost cost us the game. Yeah. We got in a situation where it's 17-7 late in the fourth quarter, and the one thing we cannot do is give up any type of huge yardage on a kick return. And guess what? Not only did we give up huge yardage, we gave up a touchdown to Northern Illinois and their kick returner, something that crushed me beyond belief. It was something that was absolutely horrendous for our team, and all we had to do after that was get a first down, and we couldn't do that. And then we had to rely on our defense in a huge situation with Drew Hare on the 40 with a minute to go. And luckily we came up huge. But honestly, I'll be 100% honest, when we had to punt the ball to them with like 2 minutes remaining, I thought we were going to lose the game. That's my opinion. I don't know if you felt differently. I thought we were going to lose the game at that point. I trust our defense, but I don't know if you remember the first play. Yeah. First play was about a 30-yard gain. Yeah. A quick little slant over the middle all the way down to their 40 with over a minute to go. Please. I thought it was over. I really thought it was over, and I'm so glad that our defense stepped it up. Did a fantastic job. You know what? No complaints on my end. You got the win. The crowd was nuts at the end of that game, which was fantastic. I think
Absolutely.
a good showing. I know it was Parents' Weekend, but a good showing. I didn't see the official attendance for that game, but it's something that you can't get upset about anymore, regardless. But you have any takeaways from the game? What do you have to say? What did you feel? Positives, negatives going into Duke?
Yeah, sure. All right. So as you said, held Drew Hare to under 100.
What was the official?
81 yards passing.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. I mean, 3 yards a pass. He was 11 for 25, averaged 3 yards a pass. They only rushed for 72 yards, 153 yards any given day. And especially, obviously we said the offense has had a lot of struggles. They still put up 326 yards.
Yeah.
Albeit 92 of them were passing. That's just going to be the
and
way
all of
BC
it was from
is,
Troy Flutie. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure every single yard of that passing was Troy
Yeah,
Flutie.
I believe. I can confirm that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was all Troy.
Isn't that crazy?
Jeff was not. But this Monday, on Coach Adazio's radio show with local guy John Meade-Perel, he was saying that in this next game against Duke, he is intending to have Jeff Smith throw 2 or 3 long balls.
Wow.
He said that is Jeff Smith's area of expertise. He's not as good with the short game, but he's really accurate with his long ball. And he said this is the kind of game where we need to.
Oh, 100%.
So,
yeah, I mean, if you can catch someone off guard with like an option read, almost like where you set it up like an option read, you pull back, and then Jeff Smith drops about 3-4 steps back and just airs it out. I think you could easily, put Sherm or Thad Smith, somebody that has some speed on the outside, against a lower whoever. Because I've done some research on Duke going down there and going to broadcast. They have a fantastic senior in Jeremy Cash, who's one of the best players in the country. He forced a fumble last game against Georgia Tech. Also sacked the quarterback coming, so he had a sack, a forced fumble in that game. He's a huge senior leader.
They played very well against Georgia Tech, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Very
That was the part that really scared me, because they went out and they put up an egg against Northwestern.
Yeah.
Played absolutely very poor. And then they...
and Northwestern, to their credit, I mean, they're proving to be a stouter opponent than many would have expected. They played very well.
You're 100% right. And they also have Devon Edwards, one of the safeties on that team, who is the one who brought back the kick return for Duke. So that's something we can talk about in a little bit. But if you set up a play where Jeff Smith tries to immediately hand that ball off to Tyler Rouse or Marcus Outlow, pulls back and then drops, and you have a wide receiver on the outside, does like a 3-step, slow start, kind of like a blocking type formation, and then takes off. If you get one step on the guy, a huge 30-yard gain would be tremendous for this team, who struggles just to get first downs in half the time. So, I mean, people are really knocking Boston College for the offense, but when you look at the numbers, I mean, it's surprising, because when you're watching the game, you're thinking, wow, there are some bad plays here and there. I don't know if you remember it, but early in the game, I think it was first down, Hillman maybe ran for 2. Second down, Hillman lost 1, maybe gained 1, so 3rd and 7. Smith, this is on our 20, dropped back maybe 2 feet after calling hike, and then immediately just airmailed it.
Yeah.
Like 30 yards downfield into our bench. A total designed play just to get out.
Yeah.
And that's something that really annoyed me, because that shows that, I mean, obviously in that situation, he's like, you know what, we're not going to throw a ball more than, 10 yards in this situation, but how do you not trust your quarterback to throw a ball 10 yards, right?
Right.
I found that. I mean, clearly it was a design play. There was no one around. No one ever could have caught it. So that's one thing. But it only happened once. So, I mean, that was something where I was just like, it's a pure strategic move just to give the ball back because you don't have trust, or like that drive was just a pure dud. But I felt that was one of the stranger things that I've seen, where it's just pure no trust. Yeah. And, I mean, going forward, I did like the coaches calling in this game. We had a couple blunders here and there. Again, another halftime situation where just did not hand the ball. We had a timeout? I can't remember distinctly. Maybe Northern Illinois called a timeout, or somebody called a timeout, and then immediately after we called a timeout. So it was like back-to-back timeouts, and I thought we were going to put up this huge play, maybe a Hail Mary, and then we just ran the ball.
Yeah.
And just went in. And I was like, why do we... No point into it.
That was just saying we're not going to walk into the half.
It's a conservative approach, whatever, regardless, yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, for all we can say, the offense did enough to get it done. Troy Flutie needs to improve, I think.
Mm-hmm.
92 yards passing, 5 for 14 is not going to get it done. That pick was like amongst the most
I almost
atrocious
forgot about that.
I've seen. But again, if we go back, and we talked about this a couple days ago, if you look at the way this defense is played, gave up 3 to Maine, gave up none to Howard, only gave up 1 touchdown to Florida State. The other one was a defensive touchdown. In this game, they gave up 1 on special teams, so that already cuts off 7. And the other one was an interception that was returned all the way down to 3 that, as we said, they almost prevented from being a touchdown.
Yeah.
So really, all things accounted for, the only drive that the defense, there's one drive.
One
all
bad drive.
The defense has
one
had a
bad
drive.
opening drive. And
again, as we've said, obviously the first 2 are a different caliber opponent. But still, this was a good offense.
Still, I mean,
it's crazy that they didn't turn it off for 1 single second against a caliber opponent.
Yeah, I was thrilled to see our defense again in this situation. Like you said, the Flutie pick was horrendous, and Hilleman, which is something we'll move into a second, also ran him all the way down, pure heart play, because obviously you just let that waltz in, you never know what's going to happen. And our defense won the field, and it became a 3rd down conversion, which they scored. We stopped them one more time. Who knows? Maybe they go for it, taking the chance with BC's offense, and maybe they don't move the ball and BC punts it to the 50. But that's a situation where we could put it in. They could have a 4th down play where they're keying it, just because Hillman runs all the way down. So, a lot of blunders from our offense. But you know what? Signs of positivity going forward. I feel like Duke's going to be a huge moving over to Duke. Duke's going to be a great matchup for us. They're a 3-1 team. They've played Northwestern and Georgia Tech as their top opponents. We've played Florida State and Northern Illinois, so maybe they have a little bit of an edge. Their first 2 games were duds also, Tulane and NC Central maybe, something not that crazy. But like we said, Northwestern was a tough game for them. Georgia Tech, after watching that game, huge weather-issued game, a lot of rain, barely 20,000 people in the stadium. So not a lot to ride high on if you're a visiting team coming in, not a lot to ride high on if you're a home team in that same scenario. And Duke showed up, and they are astoundingly similar to us after doing some research. Duke is the number 20 defense in the nation, and we're number 1. And then offense, I think they are 36, and we are 98. So you see a little difference in the offensive scheme, but that is also because they have a older quarterback, a pretty similarly inexperienced quarterback at that, but he's had the rain. He's kind of like Darius Waite in this situation, and he hasn't had a huge offensive explosion at all. No. They rely on their senior running back, Shaq Powell, and the reason they turned it on against Georgia Tech was a huge kick return. Their kick returner, Devon Edwards, one of the best in the country, brought it back, and that scares the crap out of me. It really does, judging our special team woes. And luckily, he's not the punt returner.
Right.
That would be a huge problem because you get the ball 9 times a game.
Yeah.
And we can't say, hey, Howell, get it out of bounds every time because we're probably sacrificing 10 yards of him doing that. And I love Howell as a punter. I think he's
one of the best.
Yeah, agreed. But, punting to a guy like that, we haven't faced a key kick returner, punt returner yet, and we've given up a kick return for a touchdown against Northern Illinois in a key situation. So if you give Devon Edwards a chance, and it's supposed to be bad weather again Saturday.
Well, that's the thing. That was what I was going to say. It's that it's going to be very dangerous in that the big issue with the kick return against Northern Illinois, and before they had run it down, I'm already screaming in the stands because really, you just kicked it to the 15-yard line.
I thought it was even higher. I thought some people said the 30. That's not true, but I believe 15, it was 20. I mean, that's crazy.
Like you can't get it further than that in perfect conditions.
Yeah.
For a kicker.
And I'm not, and this is not against Colton Lynchburg because I feel like he had a huge field goal, which is something that we struggle with. He went 2 for 2 with extra points, so he went perfect in that game. Howell's had his struggles on the kicking end. Apparently, he tweaked a muscle, and Noel's a loose cannon too. That's so Lynchburg coming in and handling that game in the kickoff opportunities. He had one bad kickoff, and it showed.
And they took advantage of it. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's going to be
straight up. Yeah,
all you have to have is one bad kick against Duke, and it's going to be the
exactly.
same issue.
It's going to be a defensive battle back and forth. We're going to have trouble moving the ball. They're going to have trouble moving the ball. It's going to come down to who can make the explosive play. And if we give Devon Edwards a chance, BC may be saying goodbye to a victory here. And pretty interestingly, press conference today, Devon Edwards walked in. First question immediately. Gets to the podium. He's like, I'll take any questions. Immediately. BC going to kick the ball to you? He's like, I hope so. That's scary when that's the first question that people are thinking. And he has 2 kick returns for touchdowns this year. He's had, I think, 4 in his career. And he leads all-time Duke records with an average of 29.4 per kickoff. And last year was 34. That's scary.
I mean, this might be being a bit cocky after 4 weeks and relying a little bit too much. But if he's returning, I'll take the 20, the 30-yard returns. Okay, if you can put it back towards the end zone at least.
Yeah.
But I'll take it out to the 30-yard line, the 40-yard line. That's fine. I can't have him hitting the home run ball.
No, never.
And I can't have him returning it all the way to anything past the 40.
Yeah.
If they only need to grab a pair of first downs, 3 first downs maybe to get in the field.
Our defense is good, but if you put them in a situation where they're, for lack of a better word, screwed and they're on their heels, they will win some of the time. But you can't be like, hey, defense, step up when you put the ball on their 40-yard line to start.
Right, but that's the thing. They've shown
that
99% of the time this year, when not put in that position where they absolutely have a less than 10-yard field to work with.
Set them up.
They've shown that 99% of the time they're going to go out there and they're going to make the play. They're going to stop them. I don't think the defense is going to break this week. I know we had talked about this on Sunday. With an offense as impotent as it is, when do you think that the defense is going to break? What is that game where you say, okay, well, the talent level starts matching up with the kind of what people say about these players, what level recruits they are coming in? Now that's starting to match up with how they're playing on the field. When is it going to happen? And I don't think it's happening this weekend. I know we talked about it. Way down the road, I think we're going to have problems with Notre Dame. But I think they can hold up against this team.
The only thing I can see here is the weather. If, you get one slip here, one slip there, you do never know. You never know what could happen. It looks badly on our defense if one bad thing happens. The weather, I don't think Duke's offense is going to be a problem for us because if you looked at our entire schedule in the first 2 games, or the first whatever games, and you had to make a decision after Howard, you would say Florida State, obviously. Because Florida State's coming in, they obviously have a good offense, they have a good quarterback, they have one of the best running backs in the nation, and we showed up. Then Northern Illinois, great quarterback, held them under 100 yards. Then Duke, powerful running back, decent running quarterback, nothing crazy though, 36 in the nation. It can't break against Duke. It doesn't make sense if it does. If it does, you really, there's no understanding behind it, but it wouldn't make sense. Wake Forest, after that, same thing, even worse. Can't break against Wake Forest at home. Clemson, another story. Huge, big stadium atmosphere, one of the best in the country. People would say, hey, maybe that's when it breaks. Clemson's offense is not better than Florida State's offense, and if it is, it's going to show this week against Notre Dame. That's really going to determine how good Clemson is this year. But like you said, a Fenway Park game against Notre Dame where they have Will Fuller and, balls left and right getting thrown downfield. We haven't faced a quarterback yet who's challenged us with that downfield ball. And Everett Golson should have done it. Didn't get the chance / maybe didn't need to, and Drew Hare sure as hell didn't do it. No. So Tom Sirk isn't going to do it. So
no, he's not.
Where are we looking? Clemson?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Deshaun Watson is one of the best young quarterbacks in the country.
And has he had a test yet?
No,
honestly,
not really. No.
Louisville.
He's got one this week though.
Yeah. No, it's this week. This week's going to be a huge game to watch.
But. Yeah, Deshaun is going to be more, maybe not necessarily vertically. They've lost a lot of their big receivers have come and gone. The Sammy Watkins, the Jet, he's gone. They're gone. his vertical threats aren't going to be so much the issue as is just him being a general playmaker.
Yeah.
I think he is a better playmaker than Everett Golson is. I think Everett, for all he does, is very prone to mistakes.
He has a lot of downfalls. I would agree with that.
He didn't really make too many mistakes against BC.
But he didn't do anything out of his mind.
No, he didn't. Aside from avoiding bad plays, like the safety, like a lot of sacks, he didn't have anything big. Deshaun has that potential. Deshaun is more likely to rattle off a big play against you. That would be a big test. Just the containment of one big player.
Yeah. Now moving on to a separate subject. It's something that strikes very, very close to home with this Boston College team, especially being a run-heavy team. John Hillman really breaking out this game, having a huge opportunity to break out. Didn't really do much in the first 3 games, was kind of quiet. He didn't really get a chance in Howard. Same thing with Maine, kind of really give the other running backs an opportunity. Breaks out against Northern Illinois, runs for over 120 yards, I believe, close to it. Gets a big touchdown, huge, third down conversions, getting us yards, being the guy that he was supposed to be this year. And then fourth quarter hits, secretly retreats to the bench. If you're on the field, you notice it. If you're in the stands, you're like, where's Hillman? Why aren't they running them? Now you're mad at the coaches. He's hurt. I noticed it. I was scared right when I saw him limping. But he stayed on the sidelines the entire fourth quarter, so I had a lot of faith, and I actually hadn't heard anything about it. And then on Sunday, came out that he was in a boot and crutches. Apparently it was precautionary, and then out of nowhere, Monday hits, broken foot.
Yeah. So
he's no timeable return. He's basically done until we make a bowl. I mean, maybe he makes that last game, but that's a month and a half, and that's a really quick recovery. So honestly, there's a chance maybe he makes back for Notre Dame, Syracuse. It's going to be really tough. It has to be a very small fracture of an opportunity. I think he has so much potential for the future that they're not going to be like and we're not going to be in a situation where we're going in there with one loss probably. I would love if we were. It would be top 25 going to Notre Dame with one loss. But they're not going to rush to get him back. We do have depth at running back, or we did.
We did. Well, this
is even worse. So Hillman goes down. Miles Willis had mono. Now he has a shoulder problem.
But he is good to go.
Good to go. Didn't play much in Northern Illinois. Only had about 8 yards maybe on 2 carries. Marcus Outlow came into the game. Apparently he has a shoulder problem too, so he only ran about twice. And then Tyler Rouse got the majority of the carries, but he got lit up on the kick return. People thought he was going to be out with concussion symptoms. They threw him right back in. Obviously passed some type of concussion protocol test, and he's your number 1 guy going into Duke. And you know what? I'm not too mad about that. Rouse has played out of his mind this year.
He has. He absolutely has. Just an interesting point. Adazio said in his interview on Monday that at one point he was on the sideline and all 4 of his running backs were injured. He literally did not have
once Rouse got lit up,
running back. But in any case, I think Rouse is a good first guy.
Yeah.
I think from what I understand, Outlow will be back. Miles will be back. So it's not bad to have those 3. That's kind of what he went on the first 3 games.
It's huge. It's true. And obviously, I mean, you can't say, hey, it's not a tough situation with Hillman. Obviously, it is. You want John Hillman being your main guy the entire time, and then when he gets tired, throwing in those other guys in a different type of package. Without him, obviously it's one less huge weapon that we have to deal with, that we have to utilize. It's not easy. It really is a pain to lose your starting quarterback and then your star running back. I don't want to say what's next. I really hope there's not somebody next. Knock on wood, defense has been solid this year.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. To this point, the defense has remained completely uninjured.
Yeah, and that's going to be something that is really key in Duke, especially with the bad weather. You don't want something to happen where our defense is all screwed up because of an opportunity, a setback like that. But we wish him the best in his recovery. Hopefully he's back soon. Again, if he needs to take more time, I have no problem not rushing him back.
No,
Again,
if it's a
you
matter
have to.
of a
You
couple
have to.
weeks at the end of the season or whatnot.
Yeah, he'll
that's
be
fine.
back for the bowl most likely.
It's
And,
not. The thing is, it's not a serious injury.
You know,
It just needs to be healed.
Yeah, this is something interesting too. Could they use a red shirt?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
He played too much?
Yeah, I think he played too much.
Okay. That was my one question. I don't know. I was thinking about that. You know, one down in Howard, and then all of Northern Illinois, and like half of Florida State, and like 3 downs in Maine. Is that too much? I don't know the rules on the red shirt.
I think it's how much you've dressed for too plays a factor into it.
So 4, yeah. So that is tough. But I mean, it's in a situation where regardless, he's going to move on, and yeah, I think we have to move on to. They have I can't remember his name. Who's next in line that they currently have as a freshman? Do you know the name of the freshman running back? I know they have Ben Glines.
Yes,
but there's another one. Is it McGowan's or something?
I believe it's McGowan's.
Jordan
And
McGowan's.
he discussed that Jordan has been
There you
impressive in practice,
Yeah,
and then
that's something that they don't want to burn. I know they have a red shirt on them, especially with this
Yeah.
running back depth. You really can't burn a red shirt. And
Right.
Glines, I'm pretty sure, is hurt.
yes,
too.
but Glines is potentially going to be in the rotation. Probably not for Duke, but the following week.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a situation. We also have Richard Wilson, a big dude running back who they could throw in maybe on like a third down, in 2, third down and 1 goal line. But, I mean, I'd rather have Rouse in there. He's experienced. He knows what's going on. Wilson does well at the fullback position, so I'd keep him there for now. But, yeah, going to Duke, again, it's going to be a very physical game. It's going to be a low-scoring game, in my opinion. We'll really see. Boston College has to come out. They have to make themselves known. Duke knows what's coming. Boston College pretty much knows what to expect from Duke on the offensive side. It's which defense can show up and play better down in North Carolina. So we'll see where it goes.
Okay, if we can look at the medical hardship requirements. To be eligible for a medical hardship requirement waiver, a student-athlete has to meet the following criteria. Must suffer an injury during one of their 4 seasons of college football.
Check.
Or during senior year of high school. Injury must be incapacitating or season-ending. So
Check.
he's got that. Injury must occur prior to the start of the second half of the season.
Check.
And student-athlete must not have competed in more than 30% of the season or 3 contests, whichever is greater. So he's done 3. We'd have to figure out what 30% was of
30% of this
12
is
games,
12,
so-
so that would well, 4 would be 33% then, right?
So that would make
Just
him
over.
Yeah,
that's
ineligible.
that's brutal.
Unfortunately.
So can't use a red shirt on.
And I think that
Darius, you could.
Darius could.
Not sure if they're going to, but Darius could.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah. I guess we'll jump into predictions for Duke.
All right.
What are you thinking?
I think it's, like we said, potential for some bad weather. I think it's obviously going to be low scoring. I think I made the mistake with the Florida State game. I don't think I'll make it again this season. We're not going to see a high scoring game. We're not going to be a Baylor and Oregon. We're not going to be those type of teams that are putting up a lot of points week in and week out. That's just a fact of life here in Chestnut Hill. I would say they're going to be able to. They're probably going to be able to eke out 17 again, but I don't know if they're. I'm going to say 21-10. They take it decisively.
Well, that's pretty good. I'm also going to take that route with Boston College taking this one. I think if our defense plays as well as they have, they shouldn't have a problem with Duke. Duke's a very good team. They're open up as 7-point favorites, so it's really our offense. Our offense has to step up if they can put the ball in play, make things happen, make big plays. Like you said, a home run ball from Jeff Smith. Sherm Alston, he had a little bit of some positivity looking forward in the Northern Illinois game. So hopefully he makes something big happen. And overall, I'm going to take Duke has one of the best kickers in the nation, by the way. So I'll take them with 2 field goals and a touchdown. So I'll put them at 13, and I'm going to give us 17. So 17-13. I was originally going to go with 14-13 with the bad weather, us missing a field goal. You know what? I'll stick. I said 17-13. I don't want to change it, but it could easily be 14-13 if he misses a field goal or something along the lines happen. I think their kicker is gonna show up and hit some long ones when we make big stops. But in the end, could be a huge defensive touchdown. Could be, a home run ball here and there, but I think Boston College is going to pull it off. I really do. I have faith in this team. And
Duke's good, but I still think Duke is overrated.
I was more scared of Drew Hare coming out of. I mean, them beating Georgia Tech. Also, let's talk about Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech may be overrated because
Georgia Tech is proven that they definitely are overrated.
They went to Notre Dame and got destroyed by a backup quarterback who's proven that he's pretty good. Yeah. But then again, he's only played UMass and had one big throw against Virginia. And then Georgia Tech comes in and gets smacked by Duke with their huge defensive pressure. And both teams are 3-1 again. I mean, if we have a game like Northwestern gave them where they, stack the line and don't allow them to move the ball, we should, I don't understand why we are so disfavored, for lack of better words, in Vegas. 7 points. And I think it's because of our offense. It is
because of our offense.
And we haven't played anyone. Technically, even though I think people overlook Northern Illinois so much. Northern Illinois is a good football team. They really are. One of the best teams in the MAC.
Well, if we saw the stat before. I mean, obviously, right, they're in the MAC. They're not a Power 5. They don't play great opponents. But
they show up.
They do show up. A stat flashed during the Ohio State game where prior to the Ohio State game, in the last 5 years, they've lost one road game to Arkansas, and that was it. They don't lose on the road. They've lost twice on the road this season. This is so uncharacteristic for them. They're a very good football team. And at this point, you're in week 4. Every team in the country now has played their 2 cupcake games.
Yeah.
You're at week 4 in the country. The fact that you're number 1 defense in the nation, that means something now. It didn't mean something week 1. Didn't mean it week 2. Didn't mean it week 3. Week 4, and now it starts to mean something. Everybody's got their cupcakes out of the way. You're the number 1 defense in the country.
Yeah.
Your offense is trash, but you're the number 1 defense in the country, and that goes somewhere.
And you know what? If you give us time, a little rhythm here and there, who knows where our offense can go? I know we're young. People are blaming the offensive line left and right.
I think we're a year or 2 away from being
I mean, for John Hillman, I know he's a great running back. For him to run 120 yards, the offensive line had to do something good. And I think they played a lot better.
It's a defense that held Ohio State to 20 points.
Exactly.
Let's not overlook that. Ohio State is theoretically one of the most...
Pretty sure it was, 10-7 at half? Maybe even... I mean, they played Ohio State very well. They picked off Cardell Jones twice, so...
Not Cardell out of the game.
Yeah.
They put him out of the game. They gave Ohio State enough trouble that they had to switch. They're not a bad team. I don't think Duke is a great team. I think Duke, every year, everybody's like, oh, you look at them, they're getting better. And part of it is because how long they spent at the bottom and how bad they were for a long time.
Yeah, and that's what people are saying about us now, too. But I feel like we get such less...
But we play Clemson and Florida State every year. Duke never plays Clemson or Florida State. You can't be... And that's why when you make it to the ACC championship...
I don't want to go off on the ACC alignment. They should definitely redo that.
I mean,
ACC alignment annoys me so much. Oh my gosh.
Schedule.
Well, I mean, it's okay. I don't want to get into it now, but having Louisville, Clemson, and Florida State in your division automatically puts us at a 4 spot every year at the most. Then NC State, pretty filthy, and then look at the other side. Miami is your number 1. I know Miami's all right, but come on.
Right. I mean, they could go for some realignment. Miami is on the upswing, potentially.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, who else is in there? UVA, Duke, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Those are all guys we can compete with every single week, in my opinion.
Yeah, and especially with Georgia Tech not playing well.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, too. Georgia Tech was the front runner, but they're going down.
Right.
I mean, it's Miami right now. It's Miami. And on our side, Louisville's not playing well, so it's Clemson and Florida State. So I mean, we always have one more. I mean, no, I'm not complaining on that forefront. I'm just thinking the other side has a lot easier of a road. So if Duke's back, it's like, oh, Duke's back to number 2,
right?
Straight up in that division, and it's like, oh, Boston College back. Oh, it doesn't really matter at number 4 because
our back is different.
Yes.
Our back is getting over a hump that we're just not going to get over. But and obviously this is not something that's going to happen. But if you walk, well, I mean, it could. If you walk out of the season with your 3 losses being Florida State, Clemson, and Notre Dame,
I would be so happy.
That'd be incredible. And
I'd be so
right
happy.
now, looking at this team,
I don't want to talk about it, but I'd be so happy.
It's not an unrealistic thing the way the defense is playing. They just need to hold it up.
That'd be great. What do you want to move into now? NFL?
NFL,
yeah. We haven't talked at all about NFL, but NFL season full swing again.
Yeah.
We are
it's
on
bye week. Yeah. I can't do it.
Well, it's bye week for some of us.
Yeah, bye week here.
We're going into week 4 of the NFL. I guess we'll start with the team that won last year and is going to win this year. The New England Patriots. Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I said that purposely. So New England. I mean, you probably know more than me, but I'll give my unbiased opinion of New England. New England's good, man. Let me tell you, Tom Brady, straight up, is playing with some godly motivation right now. You know, he obviously, the number one thing is at the end of this year, he wants Bob Kraft be holding up that trophy right in Goodell's face saying, yo, what's up? You know, these balls aren't deflated. But, I mean, for him to win that court case in that situation where I was just like, he's just going to roll over and take a 4-game, a 2-game, whatever it was. Unbelievable. For him to come out that first game just doesn't even faze him and just light up the Steelers. Then go into Buffalo where people were like, game of the year, and pretty much beat Buffalo pretty darn good.
Yeah,
and
they
then
let it get
Jacksonville,
close at the
but
end,
I mean, come on. And then Jacksonville just whatever.
Yeah,
but I mean, it just shows. Watching that Jacksonville game, honestly, like, Patriots got the ball. I watched like them get one first down. I stretched. I walked up to get a slice of pizza. Came back. It was 7-0. That's how quick it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened? Gronk ran down the field. I mean, I mean, for them not having a running back, straight up, they don't have like a good running back. If you were a fantasy owner, you're not like, hey, I want these running backs. But they do damage. I mean, I have Blunt on my team. It's unbelievable, the damage that they do. And Tom Brady is just an unbelievable quarterback. And I've said this. I've asked people all week. I don't know if I've asked you yet. I may have asked you in private, but not on the radio. I asked my hair cutter, by the way, #Lassards, great place to go. And he couldn't give me an answer. I asked someone else. He couldn't give me an answer. I think it was my boss. Now I'm going to ask you, when was the last time Tom Brady threw a meaningful interception?
A meaningful interception? The Super Bowl. Well, one that affected the outcome of the game?
Yes.
Okay, all right, well, that's different. Like, the ones in the Super Bowl put us in a position that we needed to come back and win that game.
Yes, but...
I mean, you'd have to lose a big game for the interception to matter. I mean, you could say Kansas City.
The Super Bowl. But, yes, Kansas City last year...
Yeah.
Like,
but you know what?
Like week 1, whatever it was?
Week 4. And you know what? I'm just going to go back to this.
That's insane.
We've had a year off, okay? Or we've had a summer off. I'm sure I talked about it at some point.
That's a year ago.
No, I mean, yeah, he
Isn't
doesn't
that crazy?
throw bad picks.
Isn't that crazy, though?
It is, but...
It shows how good he is. Because, I mean,
it's
in my opinion...
level quarterbacks do that.
I mean, agreed. I mean, I'm not saying Eli Manning's elite. I'm not saying that. I think he shows up and he can be elite when he wants to.
Yeah.
But Eli throws a pick that affects a game 1 out of every 4, maybe, guaranteed.
Right.
And that's crazy.
You need to look
further. You look at Rodgers.
Rodgers doesn't. Yes. Rodgers is in Brady's class with the throwing the picks.
But I think that's it.
If you look at it, the one person that people wanna, and we went over this last year. I think it's a nonsense to even put him in the same category anymore. If you look at Peyton throws meaningful interceptions game in and game out. Yep. Why do you think Brady's record against him is like 13-4? Because Manning lost a lot of those games. Yeah. Brady doesn't do that. Brady doesn't throw interceptions. Rodgers doesn't do that either. And that's what separates these guys. I mean, that's why Brett Favre is not the greatest quarterback. It's not even up there. Brett Favre threw intercept. Brett Favre leads.
2007, man.
Yeah, I mean, so look, I mean, Brady, you're right. That's a great question. That's a good question. Brady doesn't throw.
And I mean, you could say the same about Rodgers. When was the last time Rodgers did it? It's hard to think back and really say.
He didn't throw one against Seattle in the NFC Championship last year, did he?
Not to my knowledge.
They blew it with
play calling. They blew it first. They blew it with the onside kick.
Yeah.
So,
but what led them to that? I don't know if they were an interception.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. But I mean, isn't that crazy?
It's
absolutely insane. And I mean, we'll move right into this topic now. Who can contend with them in the AFC?
Okay, now this is a good question.
I know you want it.
I don't know. I didn't even think about this. This, and I'll explain kind of what my thought process is with the Patriots this year. But this thought hadn't come into my head yet, and it was brought to my attention, as I said, Sunday, talking to different people at the event that WZBC hosted. On paper, there doesn't really look like there's anybody who'd really be a contender. When somebody pointed out to me that Pittsburgh is really the most serious contender that we have, that is shocking to me. Granted, we played them without...
You probably get a nice smile. You're like...
Yeah, I mean, granted, we played them without Le'Veon Bell, and I think that will present a lot of trouble for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
true.
we're probably going to have to play them along the lines.
Yeah. And your
Depending
defense
on how-
isn't that good, straight up. I'll say
Oh,
it. Your
no.
defense is not good. Not
No.
that good. I mean,
I think we've
it
got
will
a-
do enough to keep you in a game, but like I've been like I think one of my roommates brought it up. Maybe somebody I was just talking to. That AFC Championship game, it's gonna be like a Big Ten matchup where it's
I think it was Graz.
yeah, it could have been.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a
shootout.
it's
game
gonna be
with
60
Pittsburgh.
to 59 straight
Yeah.
up. I mean,
And it could
it's
be.
crazy.
I'll say this much. I think we're very stout at linebacker. I think it's a good linebacking crew. I think our defensive front is pretty good. I think the ends are good. Up the middle, we're not as solid. We'll see how Malcolm Brown comes on. He looks good so far, but I'm really off the edge with Nink and Chandler Jones and now Jabal Sheard. That's pretty good. I mean, it's not Jadeveon and J.J. Watt, but it's not like Cellar Dweller either. It's a pretty good thing, I guess. And people like to say Devin McCourty is a top flight safety, and that's fine. I don't know. He's a very good safety, but we're lacking in corner. We're good. We're a fine defense. We're a defense that we need with this team, but you look at, because everybody likes to draw the comparison right now. If you look at the 07 team, our defense didn't get it done. Our defense didn't get it done, and so it's great that we have a defense that can play with this offense. But yeah, it would be nice to see them get a little bit better. They just traded for John Bostic from the Bears the other day, so we'll see how he does. He's a big tackler. But yeah, looking at the AFC, I don't know. I mean, Denver's not out until Peyton is dead.
No. Denver's in a situation where, I mean, the Colts were always your number one team that you had to play if you wanted to be, if you wanted to move on, and you usually did, especially if you were home. But Denver's a good team. They are. They're squeaking out games, but once they find a rhythm and they start, I think they need one more piece right now. Their defense is good. Their defense is really good. But if Brady, if Brady can put some points up, I mean, it's no problem.
Peyton could easily, and it's different because Peyton's had a lot of injuries and they're catching up with him.
Yeah.
And, there's no denying that. He is not the same player he was. But if it starts clicking for him, they have the weapons offensively.
Yeah. And you don't play them this year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we always play them. Sunday, November 29th.
Sunday
night game.
I do see them on the schedule. Okay, I missed them before. I was going to say, that going into the playoffs and not playing them, that could be the problem, but you do play them, so never mind. Other teams, I'll just rattle them off. Tell me yes or no.
Okay.
I'm interested to see. Buffalo.
No.
Okay. Jets.
No.
Pittsburgh.
Maybe in the regular season.
Pittsburgh,
yeah. With Le'Veon Bell, depending on how serious Ben's injury is.
and Ben coming back, sure. Cincinnati.
No, I mean...
See, this is where we're going to differ a little bit, because Cincinnati has really lit it up. I don't know if you've watched any of their games. I know Andy Dalton is, worse than a garbage can in the playoffs.
There's two things.
Yeah,
there's two
maybe.
things. Andy Dalton is not a playoff quarterback.
That's true. He's a great fantasy quarterback in the regular season, but that's beyond the point.
And Brady is a playoff quarterback.
That's true.
There is... you can walk in here with your one offensive weapon and say A.J. Green's going to light it up like he did against the Ravens. And he could very well do that. Yeah. And we could get lit up. But Brady's going to score with you.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't trust that defense to stop Brady.
But
the thing is not that Pittsburgh's defense is worse than them.
It's true.
Or better than them. I don't know why. I think Pittsburgh just has more offensive
weapons. I think Pittsburgh is going to be your number one. I've said that since the beginning. The way that Cincinnati's played, obviously people are starting to creep up and say, hey, Cincinnati. But, Patriots are outright number one. If anybody wants, they have to go get them. People are talking undefeated this year. Don't talk about it.
I hate it.
I
hate it. It's so early. It's so fashionable to jump on it.
So easy.
Oh, we were all against the Patriots last year. Yeah. Now, oh boy, everything's swinging their way. They're winning court cases, winning games. Yeah. Scorched earth. I don't like that either. I don't like this whole scorched earth movement. Like, the redemption train is coming through. That's great. The only game I care about it for is Indy, and we don't play the Ravens, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But Indy, I want to hang 100 on Indy.
Yeah.
But other than that,
yeah,
I just want to win these games. And But to that point, and that was why I was going to say with you, and I hate to do this because we're not going 16-0. I just don't see it.
I think it would be better for you guys to lose like to Dallas or something like quick.
Well,
and
see,
like
this is the thing. This is
put a little fire, in the rear, and be like, hey, undefeated talk's over. Let's go get that Super Bowl. I don't know. I feel like it's so much
a good loss. I think the only loss I'd want to take is October 25th against the Jets. I think that's the only loss on here that I'd want to take. All right, so this is what I'm going to do, if it's okay. Just going through, because people are saying 16-0, and that's all well and good. We're at Dallas, okay? This is a Des Bryant-less and Tony Romo-less Dallas.
There's no way you lose.
You can't lose to Dallas without their only good players. Indy, that's just not a question. We're not going in Sunday night to Indy. If we lose that game, then, I don't know what to make of this team. That is, from an emotional standpoint, going into Lucas Oil Stadium, that's
it may
not
actually
a game
be like
you can
120-3 at this point.
I would kill to see that. I can't tell you how happy that would make me.
Belichick just
Pouring it on. Oh, my God.
foot to the floor.
But see, this is why. New York, coming off of the Indy game where you hang 1 billion points on them, if that was the way it went down, you hang a bunch of points on them, and then that's fine. You're riding high. You come back to New England. We're not focused on the Jets game. You lose a divisional game right there. That would be a real kick in the pants, and that kind of wakes you up for the rest of the season. That's fine. But if you look at the schedule, should beat Dallas.
Yep.
Indianapolis, I would say we beat. Jets, I think that's a tough game. But, again, it's a divisional game, and we just don't often lose divisional games. And it's not a Rex Ryan Jets team.
Right.
And, not that the Bills proved to be a true Rex Ryan team. But I think we win against the Jets. I think
that Bills game coming back, it's like, a Monday night game in middle November? That's one where they could get you.
That's one. Yeah. That's one. No, I'd say that. But I think Miami, no, I don't trust them. I mean, their defense is fine, but they're not really as good as advertised.
They're brutal so far this year in Domicon.
Washington, we're not losing to Washington. We're not losing to New York.
What
a perfect... Oh, my God, come on. Wait, what a perfect year to play. If you want to talk about going scorched earth and looking at the NFC East as it is, it was the perfect year to play them.
Yeah.
Dallas would have been a real competitor. Philly looked like it was going to be a real competitor.
Giants may win the NFC East.
It's not out of the question. It's not out of the question.
Eli Manning is the best quarterback in the NFC East right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Head and shoulders above everyone else, in my opinion. Kirk Cousins, Brandon Weeden, and who am I forgetting?
Sam Bradford.
Sam Bradford. Oh my gosh. Who would you pick? Eli.
The closest
10
is
times
Sam.
out of 10.
Oh
my God. Sam Bradford's so bad.
Sam lit it up preseason, but that's why it's preseason.
Bad.
He has played really, really
I was
bad.
really hoping they would pull him in the Jets game, just put in Sanchez. I think Sanchez is better. Sam
Yeah.
Bradford plays so hesitant because he's had so many injuries, which is not wrong. You
can't knock the guy for it, but geez,
Yeah,
he's not an NFL quarterback.
No,
You're going to play
You got to
hesitant.
give up. You got to give up, Sam.
But I don't think we lose to Washington. I don't think we lose.
I don't think
New
you'll
York.
lose to the Giants either, but I'm just saying.
I think Buffalo, like you
Just
said, I
saying
think
that
that's
the
a big
Giants.
test.
I'm so excited. By the way, Victor Cruz hurt himself today.
Yeah, I know. My fantasy team. Oh man.
Lighting it up in fantasy.
Are you 3-0?
3-0, both leagues.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're one of the two ahead of me. I'm 2-1 in that league. Tough loss to Potts first week. Nonsense. But all right. So in any case, I think Buffalo is a tough game. I think that's your toughest stretch right there. Buffalo, Denver, and Philly. I'm not ready to write Philly off yet. I think they could figure it out. I don't think they're going to, but I think they could. But either way, the Buffalo-Denver back-to-back. Playing Buffalo at home on a Monday night game and then short week going to Denver could be tough. But, no, I mean, if you go down the list and then from there it's Philly, Houston we're not going to lose to. Tennessee, I mean, no. New York and Miami that late in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could drop one of those two games under the following circumstances. You've already lost one of the games and have secured the division win. If we're 14-0 going into New York and Miami, we're not losing those games.
Mm-hmm.
If we're 13-1 going into New York or Miami and we've clinched the division and the number one, then maybe we lose those games.
Yeah.
But not both of them. You're not going to lose back-to-back. So, I mean, like I said, I don't want to say 16-0, but if I'm
It's
being
very
honest here, I
attainable.
think 14-2.
So
is
attainable. Any of
But
those
you
things are
can't,
attainable.
like, I think that's such a crazy thing to say. No matter
Well-
who the team is, how good the team is, to be like, yeah, 16-0 is attainable, just by the nature of it's 16 games that you have to get yourself up for week in and week out.
It's tough.
But
no, I'm
I
just
think
saying,
14-2
looking at that
is
schedule, though,
realistic.
I mean, the thing about the NFL this year is, and I don't know if you agree with me, the NFL is one of the most flip-floppy years I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to pull up the games this week, I think every one of them pretty much go any way. I mean, some of them, like Patriots and Jacksonville. And the Patriots are I think the only team that week in,
Is favored.
I would be like more, like 100% to be like, I'd put my money on the Patriots if they picked. Because, I mean, there's a game every single week where you're
I think
like,
they're going to be the only team that goes
look at the NFC
completely
East.
favored.
Look at the NFC East. Every single NFC East game, like that they in a division game, could go either way every single time. Kirk Cousins has one good game. DeMarco Murray comes back, lights it up one time. Eli Manning
waiting
and
for
Odell
that,
go
dude.
off. I mean, who
DeMarco's
knows?
getting the bench.
Who knows? So,
yeah, we can-
and last question
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, yeah.
Kansas City.
What about it?
Kansas City. Like Patriots.
Oh, no.
No.
All right. Oh, this was the point. We got off track from this. I just want to put it out. It's been a summer off. I think I said it at some point after the Super Bowl. I just want to remark that after we lost the Kansas City game, I was furious. Everybody was in my room for that game. I had Shannon Ahern, who was a goddamn Broncos fan, in my room. Like, a Peyton fan. Not a Broncos fan. That's right. A Peyton fan. And I said after that game, we're 2-2. We always start slow. Just watch. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're winning the Super Bowl this year. Get out of my room. Said a lot of not so nice things. Yeah, RA came and yelled. Said it was being too loud. It was a Sunday night. It was quiet hours. That's fine.
That was a rough
or
game.
Monday
though.
night.
That really was a rough game.
Oh, that was bad. I think as a Patriots fan, aside from, and this is going way back, aside from the year the first Super Bowl, watching the Buffalo game where we lost 31-0 against Bledsoe, I don't think I've seen a worse game. Maybe the Baltimore AFC Championship, probably because of the stakes. The Baltimore AFC Championship game is probably the worst game I've watched as a Patriots fan.
Mm-hmm.
But completely demoralized was definitely the Kansas City game. And plus, being with how old Brady was at that point, they were writing him off right there. So that was a tough watch. Anyways, but I said it. I said we were winning. We did win it. I'm not ready to say it this year. I just don't want to hop on this. Let's get on it. I don't want it to become popular to be pro Pats. I like all the hate. I like all the hate. But in any case, no, I don't think Kansas City is a legitimate threat. There's two reasons for it. I like Alex Smith. I am a huge pro Alex Smith guy. I thought it was BS when he lost his job in San Francisco. But, offensively, Travis Kelce, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's
it's
no
a very
breakout
rough,
players.
Jamal Charles.
I'm sorry, I meant receiving. Yes, Jamal Charles, of course.
But he's
clarify.
actually receiving probably more than any other
He
receivers.
is. Well, until this week, they hadn't had a touchdown pass caught by a receiver.
Disgusting.
Yeah. I would say, and the defense is old. They have an old defense now.
Yeah, it's
Tom
nothing
Bali is
crazy.
like 50. They're
It's
old.
not wrong.
I don't think, and Andy Reid is at the helm. So
Yeah.
if that tells you right there all you need to know. Andy Reid just doesn't win big games anymore.
No.
I don't know if there was.
It's one of those teams that could
consistently
surprise you because they did beat you guys last year, but again.
That's why. Honestly,
that's
I'm more
why
likely
people,
to say no because they would not let that happen again.
I don't know. Patriots pretty good.
Patriots are pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's run down.
Yeah, pick them. All right, we got the 0-3 Ravens, first 0-3 start in franchise history against the 2-1 Ben Roethlisberger-less Steelers. That's a mouthful. 2-1 Steelers.
Ravens.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what?
What?
The Ravens have had. They've played good people. They played the
Yes,
Broncos.
but they played trash
They
games
played
against
the
good
Broncos
people.
and they played the Bengals, and they came close in both of them.
Yeah, but the other loss was a terrible loss.
Yeah,
wasn't
but
was it the Redskins?
Maybe, but going completely. That's a beside point. The Ravens.
Oh, it was the Raiders.
Oh, okay. Derek Carr and Amari Cooper, ACDC, best in the
Okay,
league.
Amari Cooper scored 2 points that week. I'll tell you that.
AC/DC.
So.
I also have him. So, hey, this is the time for the Ravens. I think people are destroying them on all fronts.
I know
They are really getting.
They are not
they're
getting good media.
you know what? they're coming out this week, and I think they're, the Steelers, if they don't have Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell's going to have to go off. And, I mean, everyone has a bad week, so if you put that Raiders one, I mean, the Seahawks lost to the Rams. I mean, everyone can have a bad week. Right. Denver and Cincinnati are two of the best teams in the AFC. AFC, best teams in the AFC. You can't really negate that at this point. Denver and Cincinnati, best teams in the AFC behind the Patriots. Oh, they're up there. They're probably Patriots, Denver, Cincinnati.
Steelers are better than Denver.
Steelers, I mean, who, you could say Antonio Brown.
I need to see how long this Ben Roethlisberger injury
That's true. You have Michael Vick. I mean, it's not the same.
Okay, this is the thing. Michael Vick is going to throw 2 picks in this game. You're not walking
That's
out of here
what I'm
without
talking
seeing
about.
2
Michael Vick is going to have problems,
fine.
But I think this is the week. I don't think it's going to be that, surefire of a game for the Steelers. I'm going to take the Ravens.
All right, that's fine. I'm not going to take the Ravens. I think the
Justified.
Steelers are going to win. That's a thing, though. You have Le'Veon Bell. He's the best back in the league. So you can stand to throw those 2 picks with Michael Vick, but you're not going without hitting a long ball to Antonio, I don't think. And I think that this is a decimated front for the Ravens. Their front 7 is not good right now. Terrell is gone. The heart of the defense
If they were at home,
gone.
I would feel like a lot more confident in picking them.
Yeah,
but
that's true. You're in
them
Pittsburgh.
being on the road, that's a Thursday night game, correct?
Yes, it is.
So I mean,
yes, it is.
Short week for the Steelers. Haven't prepared a lot with Michael Vick. This could be a week for the Ravens.
It's a short week for the Ravens too.
Yeah, I know, but I think the Ravens are this week
Coming
have been
off getting decimated by AJ and Dalton.
Wasn't decimated. They were close.
All right, it was disgusting.
It was
points.
I loved it. I loved it because I have
nice.
AJ and I have Dalton.
I hate the Ravens, so
yes, that's totally fine. I think this is the Ravens week, and if they don't lose, I think it's going to be close. Quote me on it. I could be terribly wrong, but I have.
It's a good.
It's a good Ravens.
I think
there's a lot of things going their way.
But no, I'm going to take the Steelers. But I see where you're coming from. Yep. I don't disrespect the pick. I just don't agree. All right. What? 9:30 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Oh, are they
London?
In London, London game, Jets and Dolphins.
Oh, this is going to be so
That's an
gross.
exciting London
game.
Yeah,
I'm really threw it over.
I am thrilled if I'm a Londoner and
Look
I've
at that.
got
You
the
got
Jets and the
that's
Dolphins
like
coming in. Jesus.
That's like I can't say this anymore, but that's like sending the Mets over to London saying that's New York's team, but I can't say that anymore. Shout out Mets, won the NL East. But
I wouldn't want either the Jets or the Giants coming over though.
Oh, come on, the Giants.
Stop. No, but that's just such a trash game. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, even with the hype that surrounded these two teams, when this game was booked,
oh my God,
you ever said, let's have the Jets and the Dolphins for an AFC divisional.
Gross.
Doesn't matter because the Pats are in that division.
Yeah.
Not that,
they always send so many bad games over to London. Have they sent a good game over to London? I don't think so.
But the thing is, it's because they're not willing to give up a big draw.
No.
And that's fine, but send a decent game. And that's why when the Pats went over, I think they played the Rams.
Yeah.
And, it's the Pats. It was the Pats when they were good. So, I don't know.
I'll take the Jets. Dolphins.
Jets
going over there. Dolphins, way too many problems. Jets, you know what? Tough loss to the Eagles, but they're 2-1. They're riding a little high. I think
Can
they
we
can
just
do
talk
something.
about the worst play in NFL history, the Brandon Marshall? I don't even know what it was. Attempted lateral to
self-centered player right there.
That was incredible how bad that was.
Yeah,
he was going down. That's Pee Wee football.
Yeah, that was bad. And I actually didn't see that live, and everybody was talking about it. I just saw it 2 days ago, and I was like, "Oh, that was gross."
It
was bad.
It's up there for one of the worst football plays I've ever seen, and from an experienced guy like him, just unbelievable. But in consensus on that one, Jets take that. Jags and Colts. 1-2 Colts.
Jags are so bad, man. Let me tell you, Patriots lit them up.
Now they win against.
I don't know. Did they win? That's surprising.
They did. Yeah, they won too.
They're just
beat the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's the Dolphins.
That's what we talked about though with the week-to-week thing.
It's week to week. I could see Jacksonville winning this game.
I would love it.
But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Colts got a little fire, so yeah. Moving on.
Yeah. Giants and Bills.
I mean, going into Buffalo, going to be really tough for the Giants. They're coming off a big win against Washington, but it's a huge gap too, so a lot to prepare for.
All right, well, you want to talk about the relevance of the Giants, and you just called a win against Washington a big win.
It was a big win for a team that was 0-2 and should have been 3-0. Straight up, look at those games and tell me that team shouldn't have been 3-0.
I don't know if they should have been 3-0.
We beat the Cowboys.
You beat the Cowboys.
Idiots.
If you
and
weren't
we beat
the Giants,
Falcons.
you beat the Cowboys.
Falcons are 3-0 too, right?
Again, yeah,
Jeez.
the 3-0 teams right now are not dominant 3-0 teams.
Yeah. You know what? If we had Victor Cruz, I may be pulling for the Giants here, but Bills defense too good. I'm gonna take the Bills.
Bills defense. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they're good. They're fine. Panthers, Bucks.
Gross. Another gross game. I'm gonna take the Panthers here.
Oh,
Bucks. I don't know if you saw the stat on Kyle Brinza last week, the Notre Dame kicker. Pretty sure he went 1 for 4 with field goals and missed his only extra point. So really rough day for Kyle Brinza down there in Tampa Bay. Jameis is just not doing it for me.
He's the club kid too, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
How do you even
I don't know.
That's a wonderful story, though.
Yeah, it really is.
Born with a birth defect of the foot,
And
turns into an NFL
he's
kicker.
Genius. I mean, Jameis and Mike Evans. Mike Evans is not fully back yet.
They have so
and
many
the
weapons
Panthers,
down
now
there.
they have Jared Allen, so maybe. I don't know. Take the Panthers.
Yeah, I got Panthers too.
Cool.
Eagles, Skins.
Oh, this is just gross.
Another gross game.
I'll
But
take
it's
the Eagles in this one. I'm taking a lot of the road teams here, and that's just because I do not trust the Redskins anytime. I could see the Redskins easily winning this game, just like I said.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the Eagles here, and I think, is Murray coming back? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but
maybe he is.
Yeah, if he's coming back, then we're good.
Yeah, Eagles. Not that he's been a huge effect on any one of their games, but yeah. All right, Raiders, Bears.
Raiders,
0-3.
Raiders,
Yeah,
ACDC
Raiders.
all day.
Yeah. Texans and Falcons.
Falcons, they're going to go 4-0. I have a lot of faith in the Falcons
I like
here.
it. I like them this year.
Texans are rough.
They're not going to do anything in the playoffs because
Texans have no coot, and Texans don't have a QB.
That's true. Chiefs, Bengals.
This is an interesting game, and I'm going to take the home
This
team
is.
here. I mean, Bengals been lighting it up. Andy Dalton's a regular season quarterback. I think he stays high because they're home.
Matchup of
Kansas
the
City
regular
is so
season
tough.
quarterbacks. Huh?
Kansas City is so tough to go and play in,
Yeah.
so being home really helps them here. I think Cincinnati will get it.
I'd agree. I'll go Cincinnati with that one. A lot of discourse between us. Browns, Chargers.
Chargers. I mean, Browns don't have a quarterback, and I think if they did,
Browns
it
needs
should
to
be
go to
Johnny Manziel.
It should be Johnny Manziel. We can
Yeah,
talk about
mistakes.
that at some point, but yeah, it should be. I'll go Chargers as
And
well.
this is that's actually, in my opinion,
Packers, 49ers. Packers, the only other
Packers.
legit 3-0 team.
Packers.
And Packers, yeah. Yep. Rams, Cardinals.
This is actually a
alright,
pretty
Cardinals
good game right
are
here.
Not legit.
So, yeah, Cardinals not doing anything that crazy.
Carson Palmer's having a hell of a
Carson
season.
Palmer is having a hell of a season. And Chris Johnson, man. He may be
Yeah.
back. Chris Johnson may be back. Sorry, Brian, if you're listening. My roommate, huge Rams fan, but come on. You got to take the Cardinals here. They're
agree.
having some rough games. They lit their field on fire, so Cardinals.
Vikings, Broncos.
Another interesting game here, and this one is going to be my upset. I'm going to take the Vikings. And only because Adrian Peterson went off. I think you can go into Denver, catch them off guard. He said Peyton's been having rough. They're barely squeaking out games in Denver. They're 3-0. I think the Vikings can come here. Teddy Bridgewater steps up.
I agree. I'm gonna go with Vikings on that one. Sorry, yeah, I know. I like
That's
that
fine.
upset.
That's
pick.
fine.
Bucks got to run out for them. Bucks got to run out. Cowboys, Saints.
I'm going to take the Saints in this one, and that's just because Tony Romo's not there, Des Bryant's not there. Cowboys got to figure some stuff out. They had Falcons went in there and beat them. Now they're on the road. Drew Brees is back, I believe. I think Drew Brees is back. If he is, I'm taking them. If not, maybe I'm going to reconsider that. But Drew Brees is back. Last game, or you picked that one.
It is Seahawks and for that one,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I am going to disagree with you on this one.
Nice.
There we go. I'm gonna go Cowboys.
That's another flip-flop game. Could go either way
Yeah,
so
it
easily.
could.
And
No,
last
but
game,
see, I don't even want to pick the Cowboys. I feel like I'm doing it more just to disagree with you. But yeah, I'll go Cowboys. I'll
Yeah.
stick with it. All right, Lions and Seahawks. Seahawks at home.
Seahawks at home, and Seahawks have been riding high. They beat the Bears, so it's not they're 1-2, and they're only winning against the
1-2.
Bears. So Detroit could win this one. Detroit's got a lot of problems though, and that's why going into Seattle's so tough, and they're not going to get it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's gonna be Seattle. I just want to talk about one thing. All right.
Go for it.
Before we get off here, a lot of people talk about how easy the AFC East has been over the years. I just want to look at the NFC North right now. Now, Green Bay is a legit team.
Yeah.
And this is what I think is funny, because the two most legit teams in the league right now come out of what have traditionally been two of the lesser divisions in the past, 10 years. They've got two 0-3 teams, and Minnesota, who's 2-1 against, crap opponents and only has a 60 to 50 points against advantage. Just for all of the AFC East haters, there are other crappy divisions out there. We are not the only ones who play in one. So. All right.
You know what? I do respect you saying that, and that's surprising because usually NFC North is usually the best. If the Bears are at their best,
traditionally, yes.
I'm just saying this year, Green Bay's going to win that so easily. So that's our show. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Like we said, we're Two Dudes Sports Show. TJ Hartnick, Quinn Kelly. We're here every Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. You can check us out on YouTube. We'll have this video up. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Matt Ryan, 21 of 24, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. Still a dude.
Better than this. Guys being dudes.
Matt Ryan, that's a dude.
Heisman Trophy. Bronco Nagurski Award.
Ultimate dude.
Raji on my left. Herzlich on my right. 2 dudes. O-line you. Bunch of dudes.
Dudes to the right, dudes to the left, stuck in the middle with you.
WZBC, the Boston College Radio Network, the voice of the Eagles.